As woodworkers, we spend a lot of time milling lumber flat, and so keeping things flat is crucial. With all things considered, such as the moisture content in the wood, one of our last defenses is to install C-channel. In this video, I'd like to share the installation process as well as some tips I've learned. My name is Connor, and I'm so glad you can tune in. Let's get right into this. Shop fix. It's for the love of woodworking. The first step in this whole process is to determine the size of C-channel you need, how many you want to install, and then where their placement is. I'm installing two 32-inch long, 3-inch wide C-channels that have a 3/4 leg. Leg just simply meaning the depth of the C-channel. In my opinion, the size of the C-channel should be as big as the table has room for, and span over as much width of the table as possible. You'll need a minimum of 2 C-channels, one placed on either end of the table, and after the placement of the C-channels has been determined, you want to then trace the entire perimeter. Make sure to trace some of the interior as well, and this will all make hollowing out the wood much easier in the next step. To make sure I accurately follow the lines I just traced out, I clamp on guide rails for my router to reference. In this case, I'm using track saw guides, which work really well in this application, but something as simple as a straight piece of lumber would do the trick. I'm using a 1/4-inch spiral up cut bit and plunging the bit farther in with each pass to reach the desired depth. If you want the C-channel to be embedded into the wood, rather than just simply sitting on the top, you'll want to take into account that extra depth. Otherwise, you could just plunge just under the depth of the C-channel's leg. Afterwards, I go ahead and test fit the C-channel. If you don't embed the C-channel into the wood, this is the final look, which works for a lot of tables. However, for the cedar slab table, I won't be installing table aprons underneath, so I wanted to conceal these C-channels completely into the wood with the bolts also hidden. To embed the C-channel into the wood, you simply have to hollow out the space between the grooves to the depth you want the C-channel to rest. I use the track saw guides as rails for the router so that I don't accidentally route past the grooves. Next, we need to get the C-channel mounted with the bolts by installing threaded inserts. Properly installed C-channels should have a bit of play to account for wood movement, and to center the channel I like to use shims. Once it's in the center, I mark the location where I want the threaded inserts to be located. I have seen some woodworkers install only a few threaded inserts and disregard the other openings. I think it's best practice to utilize all of them, and many C-channels, like the ones I purchased, come with inserts and bolts for each opening. I like using a drilling guide, which helps you drill at a 90-degree angle, and also lets you dial in the depth with a depth stop. It's also important that you drill the hole just shy of the insert's diameter, so there is plenty of wood for the threads, otherwise your inserts will be far too loose. It's a good idea to test this all out on a spare board, and maybe double check again, because I even accidentally chucked in the wrong diameter at first. Now the inserts can be installed. Before we set these in permanently with CA glue, I like to thread them in with a dry fit first. This gives you plenty of time to thread it in correctly and make sure it seats properly. You want the top of the insert just shy of the surface of the wood. You can save a lot of time and money by purchasing a set that includes the C-channels, inserts, and bolts all in one. Now the CA glue can be added to the inside of the hole as well as to the outside of the insert's thread. The CA glue helps prevent the threaded insert from loosening over time. Well, I never actually tested any of this myself, but I'm pretty confident following the lead of woodworkers much more skilled than I. I'll tell you what, there is a level of satisfaction you get with a well-installed C-channel, especially since it's one of the last steps in creating a tabletop. It's basically the icing on the cake. I feel like it also gives you more peace of mind knowing that you did everything possible to help maintain the table's flatness. Since the C-channel was originally lined up with the shims, I use those again to make sure it's positioned correctly. To install the bolts into the inserts quickly, I chuck a hex bit into my drill. I would caution against driving these all the way in with the drill. You'll definitely want to hand tighten these bolts. This is just a quick way to get them all started. Installing C-channel is one of your best defenses to keep a table flat after all other things are considered. And I hope this video gave you some insights on how you can install them yourself quickly, accurately, and efficiently. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button, and I encourage you to check out another one of my videos.